So I want to welcome everyone to our awards and new members reception today. We're really actually celebrating the Emeritus College itself because we get to recognize a few of our many accomplished members and also welcome many new members, which is the lifeblood of any organization. Now just imagine that you're in Governor's Hall with wine and cheese that's been provided by us rather than having to provide your own, ready to enjoy the reception. So at this time, it's a real pleasure to welcome Tim Holbrook, who is Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. He has been a consistent and strong supporter of the Emeritus College, and it's a real honor to have him here today.
Thanks so much, Greg. It is wonderful to be here. It's great to celebrate the outstanding recipients of these various awards and to welcome the new members to the Emeritus College. And most importantly, I think to enjoy a feeling of community, which again, as Gray highlighted, we just experienced in the conversation before we formally began the programming. So I know these have felt like trying and isolating times. I think it's moments like this where it's important to come together, again, even if only virtually, to appreciate everything that we have, appreciate our experiences with Emory, and appreciate our experiences with each other. So I feel very privileged to be here. It does feel like every day brings around something new, particularly with respect to the pandemic, but it's refreshing that at least there seems to be progress to moving beyond the pandemic. So I feel in contrast to last year when we were a sense of uncertainty and trepidation, there is a glowing and growing light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm particularly excited to be here because I view the Emeritus College as such a vital and important part of Emory. It's great to have our eminent faculty continue to engage with our community, to teach, to do research, to serve as mentors across the enterprise. I think that your contributions are vital. And these awards epitomize the roles and the recognitions of our faculty who exemplify what there truly is to be the best at Emory. So I'm here to offer my congratulations to everyone who are receiving awards today, to welcome the new members. But I would, of course, be remiss if I don't take this occasion to thank Gray and recognize him for his tremendous service, not only as the director of the Emeritus College over these past years, but for his long-standing commitment to Emory through his research, his teaching, and his service. He's been a vital and important partner for my office for lots of different reasons. I know my team in Faculty Affairs has been grateful for his kind wisdom and wonderful spirit, especially over the last year. And of course, and most importantly, he's been an ardent champion of the Emeritus College, emphasizing that retirement is just a new phase in one's relationship with Emory. For me, he's been an important interlocutor and educator, right? I come from the law school, walked into an Emory University wide position from a school that doesn't have much in terms of research grants. I have an engineering degree, so I don't have a bachelor's degree to fall upon to think about the humanities and social sciences. And so Gray has been an important educator for me in that regard. And I also know that going forward, we will carry on many of the lessons we've learned from the pandemic for the Emeritus College, especially the ways that we can be geographically inclusive using these incredible platforms like Zoom. So I look forward to more engagement in the future. Of course, you aren't here to hear me talk incessantly. And so I will wrap up my remarks so we can move forward with the excitement of the day. And so I will turn the virtual podium back over to Gray.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. I really appreciate that. And again, I certainly appreciate the support you've given for the Emeritus College. And now it is a great pleasure to recognize the Heilbrun Fellowship that's going to be awarded. The Heilbrun Distinguished Fellowships are not administered by the Emeritus College, but they are for emeriti faculty in the arts and sciences. These fellowships represent the largest support available for emeriti faculty to pursue research and scholarship. And again, it's a real honor to have Dean Elliott here to present the Heilbrun Fellowship for this year. So I will turn the program now over to Dean Elliott.
Thank you, Gray, and it's a real honor to be here virtually. I also regret that we're not able to physically convene, but it's a thrill to be able to see all of you. And I think, like Tim, I'm just struck by how different we all feel now about what's coming next in the next 6 months than we did just a year ago when we were coming together and really unsure exactly how this was all going to unfold. So it's a tremendous thrill to sort of be able to mark that time in this way with you. I also, before presenting the Heilbrun Fellow, want to say a word of thanks to Gray, who has been a tremendous interlocutor for the college office and for me personally in his role as director of the Emeritus College, but also has been a great interlocutor for me during my entire time in administration. I believe he was serving as chair of the Faculty Governance Committee when I started as an associate dean in the college, and I relied on him then, and I've relied on him since, and I'm sure I'll rely on him in the future. And he's just a great model of a servant leader, and I'm tremendously grateful, Gray. And speaking of servant leaders, that's a great segue unintentionally to the introduction of this year's Heilbrun Distinguished Emeritus Fellow. And as Gray said, this is a fellowship that's named in honor of Alfred B. Heilbrun, Jr., a professor of psychology, and funded through a generous gift from his family. And the fellowship offers emeritus faculty in the arts and sciences an opportunity for heightened engagement in research and scholarship. And I could not be more delighted to present this year's fellowship to Rosemary Mcgee. Rosemary Mcgee is somebody I feel like we all know and deserves no introduction, and yet needs no introduction, and yet she deserves a very lengthy one. I sometimes think of myself as literally and figuratively living in the house that Rosemary built, by which I mean she was the person who made so much, contributed to so much of what makes Emory University special for me as a faculty member, as an administrator, as just a community citizen. And then I actually sit in Candler Library, whose remodeling I know Rosemary oversaw. And so I get to enjoy the benefits of her aesthetic taste, which is much better than mine, on an almost daily basis. And sometimes for quite long hours. And I'm always grateful. Every time I look down at the remodeled reading room, I'm always grateful to Rosemary. I think many of you know she worked in the college office for many years in a variety of positions, including as Associate Dean for Resources and Planning and Senior Associate Dean for Resources. She then served on university-wide capacities, leading the arts, from which we have all benefited, and whose mantle I believe we've now taken up once again. She served importantly as Vice President and Secretary of the university, helping to negotiate those very interesting relationships between the university and its administration and the Board of Trustees, and did so with diligence, diplomacy, and grace, which I had the opportunity to deserve. And then I want to say finished her career, because her career is continuing, but moved on to a next stage of the career in which she directed the Stuart A. Rose Manuscript Archive and Rare Book Library, which is a tremendous asset to Emory and has really elevated its stature and elevated Emory onto an international stage in no small part because of her leadership. And the Rose Library is truly one of the jewels in the crown of Emory University, and something that benefits us as a liberal arts institution, but also as a research institution and as a place that is simply functions in the community as a home for the arts and creativity. And one of the thrilling things about her fellowship proposal is that she will use the fellowship to advance a project that relies on the resources of the Rose Library, resources that she helped the Rose Library secure, namely letters and papers related to the relationship of Flannery O'Connor to her very important interlocutor and friend, Sally Fitzgerald. And as Rosemary writes in her proposal, this is one of the most important literary friendships of the 20th century for American and probably even for world literature. And I just love the fact that Rosemary is going to engage in this deep study of friendship and creativity, because there's nobody better, I think, to think about those relationships and who embodies more the generosity and the commitment of loyal friendship and what it means to be a gracious, kind, and giving friend. So Rosemary, you have been a friend to Emory and a friend to me personally. And so I'm thrilled to return some of that friendship from the institution in the form of the Heilbrun Distinguished Emeritus Fellowship. So congratulations to you, and I invite you to share a few words with us.
Thank you so much, Michael, for your kind words, for this wonderful award that I'm now seeking to thrust into the limelight, a hidden story, and also to the Emeritus College for these extraordinary programs. This project was conceived and birthed at Emory. It relies on lived experience and archives here as much as it tells the story of friendship of O'Connor and Fitzgerald. It tells the story of the richness and depth of a great university. Special thanks to the wonderful Heilbrun family, my esteemed colleagues at Emory College, and my dear friends here at the Emeritus College. It's really quite a wonderful opportunity for me, and I'm returning to a project that kind of led me here to Emory to begin with, and now I hope will fully blossom with this kind of support. Thank you very much. I'm most honored and touched.
A virtual round of applause for Rosemary.
I can hear it.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Gray, the virtual podium I think goes back to you.
Okay, and it's certainly a joy to see that take place. And now we come to the part of the program in which we look at our Distinguished Faculty Awards that are made to members who have made significant professional contributions since retirement to Emory, its affiliates, and our communities and professional organizations that reflect the spirit of Emory. I will say that in my time as director, the most difficult aspect of these awards is not the lack of suitable candidates, but rather getting nominations for the many deserving candidates we have. So often when we get a nomination, our response is something like, what? Hasn't that person already received such an award? And I will just say that that's the case with our two awardees this year. So I think one of our ongoing challenges is just to get nominations for those many of our members who deserve that. And I want to thank our Awards and Honors Committee, which this year consisted of Donna Brogan, Marianne Charbot-DeHaan, Jim Keller, and Ron Gould for their work, or rather, should I say, pleasure. And the first award will be presented by Mike Cuttner.
Good afternoon. You might see in my window here, PGA, written backwards. I happen to be at Kiowa Island where the PGA Championship is going on right now. So I'm taking a little time off to honor Dr. Virgil Brown, who had a very distinguished career prior to coming to Emory, and he extended that after he came to Emory. He received his bachelor's degree from Emory and his medical degree from Yale University, and he completed an internal medicine residency at Johns Hopkins. And then he joined the NHLBI, National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute in Bethesda, Maryland, where he worked with doctors Donald Fredrickson, and Robert Levy, isolating and characterizing for the first time 3 of the major proteins involved in the structure of the plasma lipoproteins. These proteins proved to be important in regulating the levels of blood triglycerides and cholesterol. After completing a fellowship in endocrinology and metabolism at Yale University and New Haven Hospital, he joined the faculty at the University of California at San Diego, where he was director of the Lipid Research Clinic. And in 1978, he became director of the Metabolic Disease Division and the Joseph Lowe and Lewis Price Professor at Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York. And in 1991, he returned to his alma mater as the Charles Howard Candler Professor of Medicine and director of the Division of Atherosclerosis and Metabolic Disease. In 1998, he became the Chief of Medicine at the Atlanta Veterans Administration Medical Center and he became emeritus professor, retired in 2009. Dr. Brown's research has improved the understanding of how various lipoproteins and enzymes work together in the blood to transport fat from one tissue to another. His work has contributed to our understanding the way dietary changes in medicine alter and improve the metabolism of the plasma lipoproteins. His research and medical writings have resulted in over 400 publications in the medical literature. He chaired the Gordon Conference of Lipid Metabolism in 1982 and the Metabolism Studies section of the NHLBI from 1984 and 1985. Dr. Brown served as the American Heart Association as a member of several research review committees, as chairman of the Nutrition Committee, as vice chairman of the Education and Community Program, and as the National AHA president in 1991 and 92. He was the first president of the Southeast Lipid Association from 1998 to 2002, the first president of the National Lipid Association from 2002 to 2004, and the first president of the National Board of Clinical Lipidology, 2004 to 2008. He serves as the editor of the Journal of the Clinical Lipidology from 2007 to 2018. A really long time to be an editor of a journal, and a heck of a lot of work for those of you who know about that. And he was president of the International Atherosclerosis Society from 2010 to 2012. His honors include selection to chairman of the faculty at UC San Diego School of Medicine, 1977 and 78, Distinguished Professor of Medicine in the year 1987 at Mount Sinai School of Medicine, the Gold Heart Award of Lifetime Service to the American Heart Association, 1996, President of the Emory University Senate in 1997, Arlus Logue Award of Lifetime Contribution to Medicine in 2000, and the Master Physician Award of the American College of Physicians in 2008. He was given the Distinguished Medical Achievement Award at Emory, University School of Medicine, Alumni Association, and the Lifetime Achievement Award for the National Lipid Association, 2009. He delivered the commencement address at Emory College at Oxford in 1993, and the class and lecture at Ohio State University in 2010, and in 2015, he was awarded the Joseph Stokes Award, the highest award the American Society of the Preventive Cardiology in May of 2009. And I say he became an emeritus professor in 2009 and retired from the Department of VA. He currently serves as the Executive Committee of Emeritus College of Emory University. And he's told me he's actually more productive now since he has become a retired faculty member, an emeritus college faculty member. And he always tells me that I've got to keep my cholesterol down by getting on one of these statins that bother the hell out of me. But at any rate, I continue to try to do that. And it's been a great honor and privilege to nominate you for this award, and that the committee felt also very positive about your distinguished career here at Emory. I want to congratulate you, Virgil, on just a great career. So the floor is yours, sir.
Mike, thank you so much for the high honor that you have steered me into here. I don't think you missed anything in my entire career. I mean, I guess you could have talked about my mother and father, who other than that, you got everything. And I do appreciate your being one of the people who nominated me. Mike and I actually were collaborators. You may have forgotten that you actually were a statistician on some of our kinetic studies and turnover studies 20 odd years ago with Dr. Lee, who worked with me. And so we've known each other pretty much my entire career here at Emory. It's been wonderful to be back. I want to say that being part of the Emeritus College has meant a great deal to me, because it's now been 11 years since I retired. I mean, so I could have had another career here in the interim. And I want to say thank you to Gray, because Gray has turned the Emeritus College into something that was rather sleepy. You went to the conferences because there was food there when I first joined the Emeritus College. Now you go to the conferences because they're so interesting and exciting. And they draw huge crowds. And of course, Gretchen has been a big part of that, and others on the committee. So they have meant a lot to the entire faculty. And I would say the other thing that the Emeritus College has done for me, because when you're in medicine, you tend to get in your own closet and you get encompassed by a tremendous number of different types of problems, not only science, but patient problems and administrative problems. And you wind up living in your own little bubble. And that certainly was true of my life. But, you know, there's so much exciting going on at Emory, and I got to know a lot of the professors and what they did only because I joined the Emeritus College. And I appreciate so much how engrossing and enriching Emory as a total university has become since I was a student here, much more so even. And I love Oxford College. I give a lot of credit to everything I've done in my life because I felt it started at Oxford. You know, I found motivation there in science. I went to Oxford with the intent of becoming an Air Force pilot. And there was the year that the Air Force Academy was formed, and my parents were terribly upset because they viewed being in an airplane during World War II as a very fatal enterprise. And they had no interest in my being in the Air Force. So they talked me into going to Emory for a year. And of course, that was the change in my life. And Emory has made that possible now for 50 years. And so I owe a lot to Emory University and to all of you who keep making it stronger and stronger every year. Thank you very much.
So thank you both. And our next award is going to be presented by Gretchen.
While the number of Emory Emeriti who can claim admirable records of achievement of the sort recognized with this award in the years following their retirement is certainly high, it's also true that few can claim a more admirable record than Cindy. Sydney, let me take off the distracting hat. Then Sydney Kirkowitz. In the years since he retired in 2011, Sydney has added more books, chapters in books, articles, and presentations to his CV than I can count on all my fingers and toes, and quite a few of yours. That the most current CV I have is now some years out of date. It lists 4 books authored or edited between 2011 and 2017, including the co-edited Hollywood Chemistry, the authored Universal Phone, the co-edited Frankenstein, How a Monster Became an Icon, and the authored Physics, a very short introduction from Oxford University Press. And this is not to mention the translations of earlier books into other languages, and one translation into another medium entirely. Universal Foam became a movie called Bubbles That Can Change the World. It's worth noting that Sydney's popular science books have proven so very popular that they have thus far been translated into a total of 6 languages and Braille. No one does popular science better than he, and he's not bad with the unpopular hard science either. Witness the super scholarly presses that have been happy to publish what he offers along these lines as well. I was going to continue this letter by noting that the dated CV I was working with also lists 4 book chapters done post-retirement, magazine or 65 magazine articles, blogs, and essays. And I was then going to add that the CD doesn't even try to list all of the lectures, seminars, and media appearances Sydney undertook in those same years, 2011 to 2017, offering instead only a few items selected from over 550 presentations. But, and this is in the letter, happened as I was writing it, but something wonderful has just popped into my email box, an updated CV from one Sidney Kirkowitz. So now I can bring you up to date on all he's done between 2017 and now, including 3 new books that he has authored: Real Scientists Don't Wear Ties, out in 2019, Science Sketches, looking at science from different angles, in press, and Police Science, Forensics, Prediction, Surveillance, and Progress, as well as 2 further book chapters and 48 additions to the listings in the magazine articles, blogs, and essays category. Finally, I just want to make the further point that while Sidney has clearly been enormously busy pursuing the work that has been his life's work, not only doing hard science, but also translating hard science into terms that make it accessible to the general public, he has also managed to find time to share his work with us in the EUEC. Since his retirement, he has presented to us twice, once in 2014 on Science and Art, Closer Than You Think, and once in 2018 on Frankenstein. And he has promised to come to us again soon to speak on one of the subjects developed in his latest book, the collection of his essays that will be rolling off the presses soon. I myself am hoping for a talk on black holes. Who's not attracted to them? Be in touch, Sidney. Sidney also put in multiple years assisting me with scheduling speakers for our colloquiums. For that alone, I would have nominated him for an EUC award long since, had I not assumed he'd already received one. I was shocked to discover only now that he had not. And so with this letter, I am acting to remedy that remarkable oversight. I hope the awards committee will see fit to honor Sidney Kirkowitz for his significant professional achievements since retirement, or supposed retirement, by selecting him for one of our EUEC Faculty Awards of Distinction. And of course, it has done so. Congratulations, Sidney.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. I should remind people that Gretchen and I graduated into emeritus status the same year, 2011, which may be part of the reason she said such nice things. For whatever the reason, I'm very grateful for them. And it was pure fun, actually, to work with Gretchen and finding people who would speak for EUEC. It was never a hard task because people are almost always willing to share. The only task was picking out from the diversity that Emory had to offer. One of the things that I enjoyed most was getting one of our jazz people to talk to the group. So that certainly expanded the level of interest we're in. And by the way, along with talking about a career in writing about science, I want to give credit both to the EUEC and Emory in general for how generous people are with their time. Whether you ask them to speak at EUEC, or as often in my case, when I write about science, I slop over into areas where I really don't know that much. For instance, classics. And I never once sent an email or picked up the phone to an Emory colleague in another department, and have not gotten a great willingness to share their knowledge with me and enhance my writing in that way. I have two other messages I want to give. One is that beside working with Gretchen, who provided wonderful leadership in terms of finding good people to speak for EUEC, we've had other great leadership by Gray Krause, who's really brought the group into a high level of activity, made it always something that even before the pandemic was worth going to. And I think during the pandemic has helped save the sanity for many of us. or speaking only for myself, at least for my own sanity. And then the one last message is, I actually started writing popular science long before I retired from Emory and long before my current age. I'm 82 now. I started writing when I hit 50.
Wow.
That is, started writing popular science. 50 is a significant age for anyone, even in an age where we now all live longer than our parents, many of our parents did. So that was the year I reconsidered. It was a year I had written my 100th scientific paper. And I thought the number 50 and the number 100 says, you ought to step back and reconsider. That's when I started writing popular science instead of journal articles. Now I notice that one of my popular science articles reaches probably 10 times as many people as all of my journal articles ever put together. I don't know whether that's good news or bad news, but it's news. So that's part of the story. And part of the story is it's never too late to start a second career. 50 is quite young. And I think most people here understand that. I just want to underline that again. I had a long speech prepared, but I've made this a very brief one. I think I've hit the high points. Thank you again for thinking of me. There's an organization I respect and enjoy thoroughly, and getting an honor from such an organization is really a double honor. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Sydney, and thank you, Gretchen. It is really a pleasure to hear about these members. And now, for me, I think one of the highlights of this program is welcoming our new members. You were sent a program ahead of time, and that program has a listing of those members. I'm not going to read them now, but we have 67 faculty who have joined this year. But I think of that number, perhaps the most significant is the fact that 26 of those faculty are not yet retired. Some of those will retire in a few months, but others are still years away from retirement. The fact that any faculty member would want to join an emeritus organization is a testament to those retired members among us who continue to demonstrate that retirement is not the end of a faculty life, but only a transition. And I think you've heard that today with our actually 3 awardees who are quite active and continuing to be active in scholarly pursuits. So this is really continues to demonstrate that retirement is not the end of faculty life. And I've gotten to the point now that I try never to refer to faculty who are not yet retired as active, because the implication is that those who retire are inactive. And that clearly is not the case. And I understand that most of our new members are not here today, and that's understandable because even those who are now retired are not just sitting around with nothing to do. I do want to at least highlight and recognize those new members that I recognize are here. And if you'll turn on your camera, I will at least attempt to spotlight you, and you can either unmute yourself and say something, or you can just wave. But the first one I recognize is one of our members in transition, who is Jim Elliott. So welcome, it's good to have you here, Jim. And I see also Bill Woods, who is one of our new members. And so he's, a new member, but he this year has done tremendous service as one of the interviewers for undergraduate students who are wanting to prepare with a mock interview before they go on medical school interviews. And I have read some of the responses of students who have interviewed with him and what a difference they felt it has made to them. And so it's really great to have you here, Bill, and already jump in and be so important to our activities. Linwood Bertrand is one of our new members, and welcome to Lynn. It's great to have her here. She's one who joined before retirement, but one of the things that we do is we recognize members who join before retirement twice. Once as they first join, and then second as they transition into full retirement. So we're celebrating Lynn for the second time, and it's great to have you here, Lynn. Another celebration I'll say is the number of donors we have who support the Emeritus College, and those donors are also listed in the program. Those donations are completely voluntary, but there are 129 members who are listed in the program. And for me, one of the significant things is a number of those donors no longer live in Georgia. And I think that's a testament to our attempts to include all retired faculty as members and not just those who continue to live in the metro area. And so it's just very rewarding to have people who have moved away feel like they want to contribute to our efforts because they feel like they are a part of the Emeritus College. And that's certainly been one of my goals all along. And so it's really great to see that. And finally, I'll say that listed in our program are those members whose deaths we've learned about in the past year. We want to remember them and appreciate the many contributions that each of them has made to the development of Emory as we know it now. And one of the things that I've tried to do in the newsletter in the past year is have each of those members in the newsletter with a list of the contributions that they have made so that we can continue to remember them and appreciate what they did for Emory. And now finally, I will turn the program over to Mary Lynn Mcgee.
Thank you very much. I am here and honored to read a summary of Gray's career to you today on the occasion of the Emeritus College Awards reception. Gray is another active member who's going to stay active by retiring and it will be looking forward to a new chapter in his career, which is quite exemplary, as you will find out. As the executive director of Emory's Emeritus College, Gray's a familiar and beloved face. Like us, he's an emeritus professor, retiring from the Department of Biology in 2019. But when he started with us in 2014, he was still half-time in a distinguished career. And I'd like to share some highlights with you. Gray arrived at Emory as an associate professor in 1984 and was promoted to professor in 1996. He served as chairman of biology from 1987 to 1990, and then as associate chairman until 2008. His research is in the areas of DNA repair, mutagenesis, and recombination. And from 1995 on, he was a member of the program in cancer genetics and epigenetics, the CGE program in the Winship Cancer Institute. Gray's research at Emory, both before becoming a member of the CGE program and since, has yielded an admirably long list of publications. His performance as a teacher was as exemplary as his performance as a scholar. In 2007, he was awarded the Emory Williams Distinguished Undergraduate Teaching Award in the Natural Sciences, and he has mentored a series of graduate students as well. He's given extensive service to his department as member and often chair of a range of important committees. Beyond the departmental level, Gray has served the college and the university in positions of great responsibility, appointed or elected by those who knew they could count on his competence, integrity, and collegiality to carry efforts through to successful conclusions. He has performed with distinction again and again, perhaps most notably as president of the University Senate and chair of the Faculty Council in 2012-2013, and more recently as co-leader of the massive Class and Labor Faculty Report. It's clear that many others at Emory have long realized what we of the Emeritus College have learned. That Gray is a person whose qualities of character and skills of management, coupled with a willingness to work hard and long to fulfill commitments and, even better, realize dreams, make him a wonderful colleague and leader. Gray has certainly been a leader extraordinaire for the Emeritus College. One is reminded of a well-known quotation by one of Emory's earliest leaders, President Atticus Haygood of the Oxford campus. "Let us stand by what is good and make it better if we can. This has been the spirit of Gray's work to strengthen the EUEC, which has come to be widely recognized as one of the top retirement organizations for academics in the country. Gray has much increased membership, currently 712, including a steadily increasing number of those soon to retire. And he has persuaded more and more of us to enthusiastically support ongoing and new endeavors that have made the dreams of our co-founders, Jean Bianchi and John Buga, a wonderful reality. As Jean and John had hoped from the get-go, the Emeritus College offers a much appreciated opportunity for retirees to transition to yet another productive and fulfilling stage of university life, maybe the best one yet, rather than disappearing into the void. Among the established Emeritus College programming that Gray has stood by and made better are the speaker colloquiums we've been offering ever since we were founded. Gretchen Schultz, who's been scheduling speakers for these colloquiums since 2011, remembers that average attendance that year, as in the best of previous years, was 20 or so, if that. That average had crept up to perhaps 30 people per session by 2014. But within a couple of years of Gray's arrival on the scene, it had increased to room capacity in our fine space in the Luce Center. That is 60 people per session, with others on a waiting list. It was Gray who suggested we schedule all the sessions at lunchtime instead of alternating them between breakfast and lunch as we had been doing. And he who arranged for us to offer a nice lunch with attendees paying $7, enough to cover the cost. It was Gray who insisted on investing in tech to enhance the experience, enabling use of PowerPoint, providing the speakers with microphones of great benefit to those of us with failing hearing, and webcasting the presentations to those on a waiting list or otherwise unable to attend in person. The recording capacity has also meant that we've been able to archive the presentations on our resource-rich website, along with other videos Gray has archived there, as for example, those of our yearly chef lectures from very distinguished speakers indeed, and those in our Living History series of interviews with a variety of Emory legends. Do take a look at our website. Its current quality is itself a reflection of Gray's determination that it undergo continual updating and improvement. Among the additions to Emeritus College programming that Gray has personally provided are the twice monthly newsletters that go out to all our members who read them too, in the many hundreds as confirmed by our tracking system. Since newsletters are also archived on our website, you can see how substantive they are. He has further been responsible for new print materials and sets of seminar presentations meant to ease the transition to retirement for active faculty who aren't our members yet. The first includes a hugely useful handout on healthcare options he himself researched and composed, and the second, a regular schedule of speakers, individuals and panels, addressing issues of concern for this constituency. Of note in this area too is Gray's arrangement with Human Resources, by which their reps help train emeritus members to offer one-on-one mentoring to anyone preparing to retire who requests it. More members and more members to be are taking advantage of this opportunity every year. More emeriti have been teaching at Ollie each year too, thanks in part to a modest stipend Gray has arranged for the Emeritus College to provide those who develop new classes. And we'd finally note that Gray's support has been instrumental in making our interdisciplinary seminars led for the 5 years before his death by John Buga, and since led by me and others, the highlight of our interactive offerings. All of that is well and good, you might say, but what has he done for us lately? Well, here are two things that deserve special recognition. First, Gray graciously agreed to continue his service to the Emeritus College and the university a whole year past the date when he planned to retire in order to accommodate the COVID crunch. And he encouraged those of us who helped provide emeritus programming to accommodate the crunch as well by offering our colloquiums every week instead of every other week via Zoom, an arrangement so successful that we can now boast upwards of 70 online attendees every time. Second, the success of Gray's leadership of the Emeritus College has prompted those involved in the broader movement to transform academic retirement to elect him into positions of leadership in their organizations. He is now in his second term on the board of the Association for Retirement Organizations in Higher Education, that is AROHE, and was the primary person responsible for garnering the Emory funding that allowed us to host the biennial conference of that national organization in October of 2018. At that time, we had registrants and presenters from 64 colleges and universities representing 24 states and 2 provinces of Canada in attendance. And Gray is also serving as treasurer of the Georgia Association of Higher Education Retiree Organizations, that is Georgia Hero, whose members he recruited to help us co-host the AROHE conference. In closing, I'd like to note that this summary that I've just read of Gray's accomplishments was written with the help of several emeriti who prepared it a few years ago in support of his nomination for Emory's Thomas Jefferson Award. Our letter focused on personal and professional integrity and other aspects of Gray's character and performance that have made his service to the Emeritus College, the university itself, and the wider academic world so worthy of recognition. Since the Jefferson Award is given to someone who is not yet retired, we will not be sending it on again, but we are still convinced that our nomination was very well deserved. The letter was signed by 30 emeriti, and we've given Gray a copy of the signed nomination letter for his scrapbook. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Gray.
Well, thank you very much, Mary Lynn. There's not much I can say except that was a total surprise. I was totally unaware of that, and I want to thank you. But I want to say that, you know, nothing would have happened were it not for the members of the organization who are doing everything. I mean, you know, I'm not the one who schedules the speakers. I'm not the one who does the interviews with undergraduates. It's all really our members who are doing that. And so really the credit for what is happening is due to all of the members, and they make it possible. And that, I think, is what makes our organization such a vital organization, is the members who are all contributing. And Mary Lynn is right. There is a treasure trove of recorded lectures available on our website. And what Mary Lynn didn't say is that she has one of the ones that is among the most viral of those. Her talk on Confederate memorials has garnered, I think, over 800 views, which for us is a lot. And so it's just an indication of the enormous range of talents of our members. And you might know that although Mary Lynn's talk on Confederate memorials is a great tour de force of scholarly knowledge, she's a dermatologist. And so she is that indication of how much our members can contribute in so many variety of things. And that's what makes it so much fun and has made it such a really fun time for me to have been in this position. And so I want to thank you all. And now at this point, I want to recognize one of our special guests, if Anne will turn on her camera. And if Diane will add Anne Rogers' spotlight. Anne, as everyone knows, is our new director starting on June 1st. And it is really, I think we're going to be well served, and I feel very good about Anne taking over. So I want to welcome you, Anne, and say what a celebration it is to celebrate your soon arrival.
Thank you. I'm very happy to join the organization. And after listening to Gray's accomplishments, it's going to be challenging to improve upon them and to keep them up. But I'm looking forward to working with everybody. I've been in nursing for close to 45 years, so I know some of the people on the medical campus, but I'm really looking forward to making my acquaintance more with the college and the arts, particularly music, which I have an interest in. So
again. I'm looking forward to working with everybody.
Great. Thank you so much, Anne. And that's a real, I think, upbeat to end the formal part of our celebration.